UNPAVED, Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.
To me, Tom Brady is the GOAT because he's done more with less than any player at that position we've ever had.
Hey guys, welcome into Unpaved, December 24th. The reason I say that, it's Christmas Eve. Great to be along with you. Adam Sager and I here. I know it's an hour earlier, but we want to get you into your holiday weekend. No hate allowed, all love. From Happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to anybody out there. And I know, guys, as I start this show, and we'll get into all the great stuff leading to your sports weekend. Start this show at the time of year where not everybody is happy for reasons that maybe they lost someone. Maybe they're going through struggles financially. Be kind. Maybe it's a reminder of something that happened in their past. So in all of our travels, and I know it's the day before Christmas, but through the rest of the new year, and I know it sounds a little cheesy, and I know we all preach it. Trying to live it sometimes is hard to do because we all judge stuff. And we all complain and want to have more money, more abundance, more health, more opportunity to travel, all that. But I'm trying to learn to play where my feet are and not chase and make sure I'm chasing those things that I mentioned in a video earlier this week, that I'm chasing those things that money can't buy, great friends, teammates on shows like this, reminders that we all have during Christmas holidays. Hopefully for most of us, it's a time to reflect and time to give and not take. And I think as the older you get, the more you realize that the joy you see. And Segs has got his kids and seeing them happy. And when your kids come back and you either have grandkids or you have grown-up kids that have their own kids or family, just a reminder. And so I guess I just say to start that not everybody's feeling maybe the way I am or Segs is or you are, and the joy that's going on. And it reminds me of what I saw yesterday on social media. And like I said, we all have something in this holiday season, either going good or something that reminds us or something we want to fix, and all those things going into the new year that you guys will reflect on. But Ben Sasse is and I think that's how it's pronounced, the congressman. And I think a lot of you probably saw it. And I quote tweeted and put it out there. And I'm not going to go over his whole read. If you get a chance, SASSE, he's a former congressman. Go in there and read what he said. Got kids, got a wife. Over 30 plus years. Remove the politics from it, how you feel about all the stuff that's going on, regardless of where you sit, and just read what he had to say. And it actually choked me up yesterday because at this time of year, one of my greatest memories was taking in a homeless man on Christmas Day, which would be tomorrow. Segs, you know all about that. You met him. Is my guy Russell Brissett. And I thought I was compassionate, and I'm not going to get into that story now. It's for another day, but this Christmas, while it always reminds me of kids and family, it also reminds me of driving home from Dallas to Houston and driving by a man walking down the interstate. And I drove by him about 10, 12 miles, like in the Corsicana area on Highway 845 headed south. I wasn't with my kids because I was with them the night before, and their mother and I had been divorced, and she had them on Christmas morning, and I get it, but I was feeling sorry for myself driving home. To make a long story short, I went by, something kept prompting me to turn back around. You guys call it what you call it. I call it the Holy Ghost or the Spirit, whatever, that says go back and pick him up or stop and, give him something. It was Christmas Day. And I was going through a rock bottom time. I like trying to get out of it at that time. I'd started my way out of it and digging my way out of it. And so I was immersed in myself and selfish. And I really was. And selfish to the point of, oh, I'm not with my kids. I pouted, man. What a bummer. It's Christmas Day. And I remember the day vividly, the weather, everything. Like it like the story came back 100%. And it prompted me. I was in the fast lane, so about 10 miles down, I couldn't stop to go back and do something for him. I turn around, I pull up as I go back, and I see him, and I'm driving back towards Dallas thinking, somebody please pick him up. I didn't want to do it. I was pouting and feeling sorry for myself because my time was bad. Well, I went by and I looked over on the other side of the freeway, and he was still walking, duffel bag, walking uphill, wind blowing. It was about 50 some degrees on that day in 2014 Christmas Day. And so I came back, pulled up, rolled down my window and had some money in my fingertips, said, hey man, just want to wish you a Merry Christmas. And I hope this helps. And it was $100 bill. And the only reason I say that is I didn't really have extra money to give at that time, but I did. And it's not a pat on the back for me. The whole story is that I gave it to him and I pulled it back. And I said, where are you going? He told me. I got him back and I said, hop in, I'll drive you there. And as I'm driving there, we got into a story. He'd been homeless. He'd recovering from drugs, had about 5 teeth in his head. And meaning he and family, brothers and sisters, they had not been estranged, and his daughter estranged. And so he didn't have family. And he was headed to go to warmer weather. He'd walked from Missouri and hitchhiked. And so I got him in and to get to the end of the story. By the time we drove a couple more hours to drop him off where he was headed, I brought him to my home and he lived with me 2 years after. And while, people say, and it's not a pat on the back for me, the point of this is I was going through a miserable, tough time in my life and I immersed myself into him and I didn't want to. Well, 2 years later, he lives with me, reconciles with his family, gets a job back home. We became great friends. He stayed in my home and lived with me for 2 years. And we got him all new teeth and all those things. But the moral of the story was I thought I was compassionate. I didn't change his life. Maybe there was a little bit of an impact. I hope there was, because we still stay in contact, not as often as we should, but stay in contact as a friendship. And you want to help somebody. And it wasn't for any story value. I needed it more than he did. And he was homeless. And I was living in an apartment. And he stayed with me and became great friends. And the moral for the story for me was on this Christmas Day, I don't have my mom or dad anymore, but still, Russell made an impact on me because I now realize what compassion is, that even though I thought I wasn't. His impact on me is far greater than any impact I had on him. And so I'm grateful for that. It reminds me of this congressman who wrote the story yesterday. So as cheesy it may sound on a day before Christmas, I really don't care because we're trying to be a truck, not a trailer, and help people along instead of being pulled along. And sometimes we need pulled along, and I did. This Ben says, he wrote a tweet. He's got pancreatic cancer stage 4, and he's dying. And he said, this is a death sentence. I'm going to die. And then he went on to talk about his family, and his attitude towards this shifted my paradigms again around Christmas, thinking, here's a man who knows the death sentence, praying for miracles. He wasn't giving up. It was so upbeat that if you read it, you're like, I got to be like him. At some point in our life, you hope you get more time. We're going to have that come to Jesus moment. His response to what's more than likely inevitable, and hope we pray for miracles, and I'm sure he does too, is how his kids and his family now are going to view this Christmas moving forward. So his legacy may be work, congressman, made a difference in a lot. But for that family, I'm assuming, because I'm looking at it from my vantage point, if I was a member of his family, that on this road that he's trying to recover and may not, what he's left behind for his kids and his family, and for all of us to take a step back and say, man, I thought I had it bad. The money's not as big this Christmas. There's not as many gifts. I don't get to see my kids because they're engaged in, one of them is going to spend time with their guy or their wife or their future wife. And it led me to perspective. I think we're around to do it. I don't know if he's going to be around a year from now or 10 years from now, and neither does he. But the message is at this time of year, if we can all put the differences aside, but not just for this time of year, carrying into 2026, I'm going to work harder on not allowing anybody to shrink my feelings for other people and shrink who I am to change for somebody who may not have the same beliefs we do on just being there for somebody else. Because in the end, the money will get spent, the awards will go away, pass them down, but we'll never, ever forget how we felt at certain times. And I'm so grateful for Russell, and I'm so grateful for this congressman who shared an example when most of us will be panicked and scared to death, because I'm not ready to face that. And the example he set for us.
For sure.
If you can, take time. Merry Christmas and happy holidays, and whatever religion you are or politics you are, it doesn't matter. There's a human being that in some way, some of you may be going through the same thing that we haven't seen on social media. But remember, when somebody's frustrated or going through something, or a kid's crying and you don't know why on a plane or a bus and there's traffic, that maybe, just maybe, that time was for you to ponder, because something ahead will be better because somebody else made a difference for you. So I always say this: immerse yourself into somebody else when trouble's going on in your life, and I assure you the benefits are far greater than any dollar amount you'll ever earn. So Merry Christmas, and I hope that we can kind of do that throughout this, man.
Yes.
11/11 hits right now, so make a wish. My wish is for happiness, peace, and a phenomenal, epic 2026. And for those that are struggling, thanks for your example for those of us who take those things at times for granted and sure don't want to.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just every time I hear the story, it's always, nice to think back on and everything you did with Russell, not for Russell, with Russell. And
yeah, it's a great point, Segs, and the friendship that was developed.
Yeah, he had to want that help as well, just like anybody out there that's dealing with anything like that. You have to want the help and be able to accept it, and he did that, and then you helped him along the way as well.
And what you develop a friendship, Segs, and you even forget why you picked him up in the first place. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you just try to help out. And I was going to just give him money, put him in a hotel for a few days, and I was going to Band-Aid it. And in truth, and in the Band-Aid, whatever message is dropped at your feet and you don't know what it is, there is no way that if I would have been in tune or driving alone, and I think about this, not having my kids with me that day on Christmas morning, it was like it was around this time on Christmas morning. I was driving back after spending Christmas Eve. If I'd have had my kids with me, we may have been engaged in conversation that I may not have stopped. But you're like, so in the process of it, it's not a blessing, man, what am I doing? Christmas, I'm alone, I'm driving back to Houston. In the process of not having my kids with me, I found somebody who needed me to be alone in that truck that day so I could know he was there. I fully believe that. And then to get out of my own way, and at 10 miles down the road, it would have been easier for me just to keep driving. But imagine the blessing I would have missed if I would have at least not had somebody punch me across the head, take a sledgehammer, whatever that voice is that takes a sledgehammer to your head and said, turn around, it's going to change your life. And it did. So there you go. And
not only
like I said,
not only not having your kids that day, as you mentioned, but maybe you would have turned around, but maybe you just handed them the $100 bill because your kids were in the car and you don't want to put a stranger in the car with your kids. It's just, that's how life works sometimes. And
great point. And my kids loved it. My kids, every Christmas they ask me, Dad, how's Russell? And when he went back home, they were bummed. Yet he went back home for good reasons. Got a job, and his family had sent me a message in private. And I said, don't thank me. Make sure I want to thank him for changing my life. So it was the impact he made on me. But you're exactly. My kids were like, they always, Dad, how's Russell doing? Where's Russell? And I'm like, that's even better, because my kids also saw what really matters.
Yes.
And it was great. So I'm blessed by it. It's a story that I'll never forget. And every Christmas I'm reminded of it, even though I don't have my parents. And, you wish everybody was around, but somebody's got it worse. And this congressman also, through his struggles, imagine what their Christmas is this year, how much they're appreciating, because 2026, they may not have one together. So just cherish it. It's not a preach thing, guys. It isn't, because I'm not good at that, but I am good. I'd like to think it. I'm good now at being better than I was. And that's the best way I can describe it. So, Segs, real quick before we get going, let me tell you about, somebody else, we talk about precious moments. How about precious metals, right? Augusta Precious Metals, which is such a great partnership. And Merry Christmas to my friends at Augusta Precious Metals and those tangible assets that matter. At Christmas time, this is the time coming out of this. What do we usually do in January? How am I going to pay all these bills? What's going to happen? My money's not worth what it used to be. I overspent. That's fine. We all do that. And we all complain about it. And then we all get back to doing, okay, I'm going to reach and discipline to reach what I need to reach. Well, here's Augusta Precious Metals. We're going to hit $40 trillion in debt in this country in 2026. And we want confidence. I don't know when you're going to retire, and neither do you, most of you. If you do, God bless you. Are you ready? Are you relying on Washington's adjustment of the way it goes up and down? Or are you going to rely on precious metals with constantly the price continues to go up in your investment in, and it will in 2026? That I used to be afraid of it, the precious metal. I don't know, and I didn't know enough about it. So what Augusta Metals, Precious Metals has done, there's a $40 trillion debt, the threat, it's debt, but the threat guide that you just hit, text SEAN, Sean, to 35052. Text Sean to 35052, click the link in the description below. And it's just a quick guide to kind of walk you through what's going on and what we're all facing. It's going to affect us all. Now, you've got a choice with Augusta Precious Metals. You can be educated, learn about it, and realize what I can do to get confidence, security, and peace of mind heading towards and in retirement. Or you can sit back and keep relying on other people to make decisions for you, like the dollar. And if it's not working for you, then 10 years down the road, can you imagine if you say, I should have done that then? Where you'd be 10 years from now, 3 years from now, 12 years from now? Get it while the getting's good. But first, educate yourself. That's the number one priority for Augusta Precious Metals. Of course, everybody wants to make money and buy gold and do it all. But educate yourself so you understand exactly what you're doing. Find out the why. Precious Metals, Augusta Precious Metals, has the answers to why. Education. And listen, we're all going through it. What's the future look like? And where are we? Let Augusta Precious Metals help. Text Sean, SEAN, to 35052. Click on the link in the description below. Go in there. Check out that guy. It's only a few minutes. I'm not asking you to read a novel. I'm asking you to go educate yourself a little bit. Then follow up. And if I'm sitting one up here and one down here, and this up here is Augusta Precious Metals and gold and precious metals and tangible assets. And this down here is where you are because the dollar and money spent, you don't have anything for retirement. Where's your confidence? Mine's here. Yours is there. Get it up here. Augusta Precious Metals can help. Text Sean, 35052. Hit the link in the description below. Educate yourself on why precious metals and gold and Augusta Precious Metals is the place to be and the best in the business. Sakes.
Yes, for sure. As always, thank you to Augusta Precious Metals. All right, Sean, tomorrow, Christmas Day, we got 3 NFL games. And you kind of looked at it early in the season. You're like, okay, these could be 3 very meaningful games. But now we look at the schedule, which is Dallas, Washington is the early game that kicks off at noon. Then noon central, that is.
That's a pride game, Segs. That's just a pride game yes. Now, right?
Neither team are going to make the playoffs. Then you have the Lions and the Vikings. The Lions are still fighting for a playoff spot, and the Vikings want to be that team that keeps them out of playing for the playoffs, wants to keep them out of the playoffs. J.J. McCarthy does have a fracture in his hand. He will not play. Max Brosmer will get the start there. And then the nightcap, we have Denver and Kansas City. And we know Kansas City at 6-9 is out of the playoffs. Denver's fighting for seeding. But my first question about these 3 games is, if you're a Lion or you're a Cowboy, does it suck knowing that every year you're playing on Thanksgiving and now here you are playing Christmas Day as well in the same year? Does that kind of piss you off as a player, thinking like, damn, we got we have 2 big holidays during our season and you're making us play on both? Like, that's kind of shit. I know Thanksgiving is their day. That's Detroit and Dallas's day, but man, Christmas too? Jeez, what's the NFL thinking with these 2 teams?
Hey guys, I was going to tell my dogs, listen, I know they're answering for you. I'm not even going to mute it. If they want to talk, let them talk. It's Christmas Eve. Have at it, man. Segs, I'll tell you, they're protective. The trash guys picking up the trash. And my dogs think they're going to run through the window and come into the house. So then they see my 100-pound kilo pit sitting in the window, and it's like, we're going to make sure that we just get the trash and keep it moving. And yet he'd want to lick them and give them a hug and then eat them if they decided they wanted to come in the house. Other than that, they're barking and they're good dogs. Segs, it's crazy. I don't think this has ever happened. Both teams play on Thanksgiving, both play on Christmas. I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, where the 2 teams, and Dallas and Detroit have been doing this forever, Thanksgiving is reserved for them. But I can't remember a time that the teams that played on Thanksgiving turned around, whether you're the team that always plays or the visiting team, and turned around and did the same thing on Christmas Day. It's crazy. I wonder if they're going through this thinking, oh, good gracious, this schedule. We actually got these two teams on Christmas as well, because it really is kind of, I don't know what the way I'm looking at sakes. It's wrong. I don't know. I
Kansas
really
City
don't.
also played Thanksgiving. They played Christmas night.
So they doubled. I forgot about that, because they were the night. Was it the Chargers?
No,
they
played the Cowboys that day.
Cowboys, that's right. And the Cowboys beat them in Dallas, correct?
Yes.
So it's just like all three of these teams, like, damn, nice holiday season, right? So yeah, I don't know. It had to be on purpose, because if it wasn't, you come back today and they're thinking, did we really do these guys like this? They couldn't eat Thanksgiving early with their families, and now they can't wake up. And maybe they wake up on Christmas morning, but they got to get up like the kids do at 4:30, staring at the ceiling because Santa Claus is coming.
Right.
I think it's a bummer. Sags, when we got the schedule came out when I was playing, people always say, did you go right to the schedule? Not like fans do. Fans do it to plan their trip and to get their plane ticket and then, the schedule for the next year. I know as a player, and most of the guys I was around to me, we look for a couple things. One is, are we playing you guys in Chicago or Green Bay late in the season where it's cold? What national games, like at that point in time, Monday night was that standalone, said, are we playing national? Because you didn't really know. You could kind of play it out on what would be the main game on a Sunday at 1 o'clock or noon for us. And we played a lot of noon games in Minnesota, but you were like, well, what's the national game? Oh, we get Monday Night Football against the Packers in October, which will be really good weather, more likely a little chill, but it'll be fine. So you'd look at that, and then you'd go to Thanksgiving. And you'd say, are we playing Thanksgiving? And there was part of you that one time wanted to do it because you wanted to be the show in town in the morning, whether you're playing Dallas in the afternoon or Detroit. But you didn't want to do it every year. But that's how we looked. I didn't look at who we played in October. National TV games, were the cold ones being played, and are we playing on Thanksgiving? Now the cats are waking up. And it used to be, but Segs, I don't think it has the same flair that it used to. And I'm only going to tell you this why. Because we have so many games, and times now we're doubling up on Monday Night Football, right? We got all the Thanksgiving. So when does Dallas and Detroit, do they ever take Thanksgiving for granted? Not the Thanksgiving, but the game, like, here we go again. Been doing it forever. But then to be double down on Christmas, and if you're a family member, you're like, hey, Dad, do we ever get to have a normal one? You're 3 years into your career. Jared Goff's going to play, 7 more years? So on Thanksgiving Day for the rest of his time. Yeah. And you're like, could we not get the Christmas draw? And all these going in, and the only thing that comes out is Dallas and Washington pride. A couple Pro Bowl guys getting validated. Detroit and Minnesota trying to disrupt their flow without J.J. McCarthy now again with an injury, and he was starting to play well. And then Kansas City, who's building for next year, and Denver's trying not to have one of those games where they allow themselves to go into a building as a double-digit favorite and have one of those, oh, it's a holiday, take time off like you're playing in Hawaii and screw it up.
Right.
Because you don't want to screw that up. So that's where it comes in the focus. But I think it's an honor, Segs. But I also think that if you're those teams, you're like, it'd have been nice just to wake up on Christmas Day and watch somebody else play. And the reason why I say it, some of it's diminished is Monday night was one standalone thing. Christmas Day, you felt like, okay, that was our day. Thanksgiving, I understand how those teams own it, but we have so many games. Sometimes they just run together and you don't get the same pizzazz. Although for fans, we love watching our teams play on Christmas because they are standalone games for the most part because they're one after the other. But it just doesn't hit the same maybe as it used to. But it is odd. Today's the first day I really realized, Segs, you brought it up, that these three teams were all playing and all played on Thanksgiving as well. Crazy.
Yeah, I just happened to look at the schedule. I'm like, wait a second, we got Cowboys, Lions. And then as I started talking, I'm like, wait a second, I think the Chiefs played as well. And they have.
Who loves this more of all of them? Detroit loves it because now it's a short week for these teams. If it's another one, but Detroit loves it because they still got a chance at the playoffs. Denver loves it because they realize that the importance of they're battling for a 1 seed, right? Segs, that's it. But if you're a team that isn't very good, and I thought I saw somebody make the comment in here that if you're struggling, it can be as a player, you're like, I just as soon wake up with my family on Christmas Day. I don't want any football, especially I know we got 2 games left and we're going home. So, but the other side of it is at least you get Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday after the game and until the next Sunday, Segs, or Saturday. So you get 10 days, 11 days off. That's the bonus you get for playing on Christmas. You're going to get basically an extra 4 days to yourself after this to celebrate the Christmas you didn't get waking up and spending all day with your family.
Yeah. Okay. So I saw this tweet, and we're going to talk about the playoffs because, I mean, overall, the games, I mean, like I said, J.J. McCarthy's not playing. Jaden Daniels or Marcus Mariota aren't playing for the Commanders. Josh Johnson will get the start. So we're at the end of the season where we're starting to see teams that are out, and a lot of these teams are out of the playoffs that are just throwing guys out there now. You got a lot of injuries. So you're just throwing guys that maybe we're on the practice squad or whatever. You're just putting them out there. Meaningful games for them, but overall for us in the big scope of things, it'll just be nice to kind of have football on the TV, but you're not really watching these games like you were, maybe a month ago if we had Dallas and Kansas City playing each other when they're both fighting
Agreed.
for playoff spots. But I saw this.
Yeah, think about it. Minnesota's the same team as last year, and the Chiefs are the Chiefs we know. We are loaded up and ready to go for Christmas, because even if you're a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs right now, you're worried about when your team's going to move and what's going on, and we're not going to the playoffs.
Right.
But nobody's going to feel sorry for the Chiefs. Why? Because they've been in the AFC Championship game 8 million times in the last decade. So there you go.
So speaking of that, when we talk about NFL playoff seeding and all that, I saw this tweet from somebody at Pro Football Focus. He said, in the past 9 years, every team that has won the Super Bowl has had at least a top 11 offense and a top 13 defense. Every team that has made it has had at least a top 11 offense, as he said. There are currently only 5 teams that fit this criterion. So this is almost the last decade.
So
top 11
defense,
top 11 offense, top 13 defense.
Top 13, okay.
So the 5 teams that he lists that currently have those parameters are the Los Angeles Rams, which we think is probably the best team in football, despite the loss to Seattle a couple of weeks ago. I think we both have them up there. The New England
got to quit
Patriots,
choking away late games, Segs. The games they've done, they've given away. Yeah.
Yeah. The New England Patriots with the young quarterback and Drake May. You have the Jacksonville Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence, and that team starting to pick everything up, and offensively, defensively, they're really getting after it, and they've played really well recently. You have the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, who's able to play Superman when needed for the most part. And then McDermott's defense has stayed relevant, I think. It's not like they're not what we expect from the Buffalo Bills defense, but they're doing enough to keep them in games and obviously win enough games to be a playoff team. And then you have the Chicago Bears, another young quarterback in Caleb Williams, second-year quarterback. He and Drake May, who got new coaches in Mike Vrabel and Ben Johnson, who now fit this criteria that we've had for almost a decade straight of being a predictor. So according to this guy, based on what we've seen, these are the 5 teams we have to look at as real Super Bowl contenders. Are we leaving anybody out? We didn't mention the Denver Broncos. We didn't mention the Seattle Seahawks. We didn't mention the Houston Texans, the Philadelphia Eagles, the San Francisco 49ers who are playing well, or the Chargers, or the Green Bay Packers. Looking at that list of 5 teams, if you had to pick and say one of these 5 teams is winning the Super Bowl, or you get the rest of the field, which one are you taking?
Before I answer that question, I want you to tell me the 5 quarterbacks one more time, Sakes. I know who they are, but I want you to. There's a method to this madness. Reiterate them for me.
Matthew Stafford, Drake May,
MVP. Going to finish first or second, the MVP.
Yep.
Having a year that I'll get to that after this. Yep.
Yes. Josh Allen, Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams is playing better football than he's ever played on the NFL level and getting better every week. Josh Allen's the reigning MVP. May or Stafford are going to win the MVP, both in the Pro Bowl. So is Josh Allen. And then the last one, Trevor Lawrence, and this is where I want to chime in on this part. Beginning of the year, I told you I didn't trust him or Jacksonville. It's constant Dow Jones.
Yeah.
I'll raise my hand now and say the fact that everybody was questioning them, new coach, Liam, how are they going to respond? Trevor Lawrence, in part, has responded big time this year, as has their defense and as their overall offensive production. And they're not where they want to be, but they are closer than they've been, man. They really are. So the common theme here is they mentioned with obvious statistics, but defense travels, great quarterback play late. All 5 of those teams have that. That's one. For me, you mentioned Jacksonville. I don't believe Jacksonville is going to be playing in the Super Bowl this year, but I'm a bigger believer now than I was, Segs, when this thing's all start. I did not trust them. The Buffalo Bills, I believe they can. They can't. Josh Allen's got to be able to bring where he doesn't have to play perfect for you to win a game. And I'm not sure they're there yet. New England, young, but man alive, they're as disciplined. They're as good as they're kind of like the Rams in the AFC. They play solid everywhere, and their quarterback's lights out. The Rams are obvious. And who did I leave out of that?
Buffalo?
The Chicago Bears.
Oh.
The Bears are playing tremendous offensive line, outstanding defense, quarterback play. The thing that they got to get better at, and JB and I had talked about this yesterday, is more consistent quarterback play early. Because when you get late and you're playing the Rams in the playoffs, you can't have 2.5 or 3 bad quarters because the lead will be too big for you to come back from if you're Caleb Williams, unless you're within a touchdown or so, because teams like the Rams aren't going to let you come down from 14 or 17 or 16 in a playoff game most of the time. There is always the aberration. So, Segs, with that in mind, you're saying now, if you said, Sean, these top 5 or the rest of the field, the other 27 teams, I would take the top 5. If you're saying one of the top 5 or 31 of the teams, those 4 that I didn't choose in the rest of the league, I'm taking the field. If I have to take, let's say I take the Rams, the field or Rams, I would take the field. Now, if you say, Sean, are one of these 5 teams, or you get to pick and you get to take those 5, will any of those 5 be on my side, make Super Bowl? I would ride with that. Buffalo, New England, the Rams. And then there's the outlier of, like, I believe Seattle and Denver would be teams that I could throw in there as who outside do you believe in? I believe in both of them as well. So if you're giving me all 5 in the 27, I'm taking the 5 with that statistic. If you're saying pick one or the 31 others go into the other side, I'm betting the 31 others, because I don't think we have a great team in the league. I think we have a handful of really good ones. I don't think there's one of those 85 Bears where if you play average, you're losing by 30. I think that there's some really good teams. I don't have a Kansas City Chiefs in domination in New England where, as long as they don't screw it up, they're winning. I think there's 6, 7, 8 teams that can win the Super Bowl this year. I would take the field normally with one team.
Yeah, for sure. I think that, when you look at this playoff bracket that we have up on the screen here, I mean, there is a lot of parity. There's a lot of teams that you think could win. I mean, I think, to me, the 2 teams that I automatically take out of winning a Super Bowl off this graphic is the Carolina Panthers. Not that they're not playing well, but I just don't think they're quite ready for it.
They're not ready for that, Segs. That's too much through the playoffs. Right. They're not veteran enough to get through that, I don't think.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just don't. The way this season's gone, the way their division is gone, being as terrible as they are, Lamar Jackson being hurt, Joe Burrow being hurt, the Cleveland Browns being the Cleveland Browns, they kind of won that division by default, in my opinion. I don't think they're a threat to be, in this scenario, Los Angeles, Denver, and then let's just say New England back-to-back, or Buffalo back-to-back-to-back. I just don't see it for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So those are the 2 I would take off immediately.
Segs, this is going to sound disrespectful, and I sure as hell, well, if you can take it as disrespect, but I never mean it that way. To me, Carolina and Pittsburgh, and you spot on by you, are Tulane and James Madison.
That's a good, that's a good way to put it.
They can get an upset. They possibly can get a win. Neither one of them did, but they're good enough, well coached in their division. They're good, and we respect them, and they're on the rise. Boy, James Madison from an FCS, from a smaller division, and now they're all those things. We've watched Tulane's program with Willie Fritz and Coach Summerall elevate, but when you get into it and thinking, okay, they got to win this one, and then they got to go in on the road and win this on the road. There's not enough firepower on offense or defense for either one this year. Tulane and James Madison are the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Carolina Panthers. Respect, pretty damn good. Playing against teams that are better, you're going to need a little luck. You may win one. You're not playing in February, just like you're not playing in January for the national championship. If you're either one of those, that's how I look at those 2 teams this year. And I hold both of those college teams in high regard with their coaching staff. I feel the same about Carolina and Pittsburgh. but neither one of them have enough firepower on either side of the ball to extend this to February this year.
And then I think if we're talking about two other teams, if we want to add two more teams that I just don't feel confident in, I don't feel confident that the Jacksonville Jaguars are ready to win a Super Bowl, as you talked about. But the Houston Texans. Defense, yes. Offense is putrid. I mean, I don't know how else to explain their offense. You go play the Las Vegas Raiders, who are arguably the worst run organization in football, arguably the worst team in football.
They're the worst team consistently I've seen this year.
Yes. And
week to week,
you score 16 points to get the win or whatever. Maybe they scored late, but you were only up 16-13 or whatever it was late in that game. And we've seen this too much from the Houston Texans. So I don't give the Houston Texans a chance to make that run through. I can't trust that offense enough to go through 3 games to get to the Super Bowl. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you guys turned it around all of a sudden from week 17 on and became this good offense that was good enough to win a Super Bowl. I don't see it from the Houston Texans. The offense is just not nearly good enough, in my opinion.
Couldn't agree more. I think that if they get the right draw segs, they can make it really tough on a team in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they can win a game based off their defense.
Right. I just think when it all comes down to it, that they're going to run into something where they get beat. You know, they turn the ball over in the short field and get beat. But I do think this elevation will help them moving forward. I wouldn't bet on them. You get some good odds on them, but I think you'd be giving money away if you took the Jacksonville Jaguars to go. I think that's a pretty legalized theft if you want to give your money away for the betting sites. So respect, and they've exceeded my expectations. Jacksonville, I'm with the Texans, eggs. See them all the time. Their defense is off the charts good. Their offense has moments, but once again, there's a common theme among some of these teams we say can't make it, Segs, is their offenses just aren't dominant enough for 4 quarters and consistent enough to do it. Potential, yes, but give me production. And at this time of the season, I think we pretty much know who teams are with the ability to have that one game where you can win.
Right.
But to get all the way to February, you have to have extraordinary quarterback play. You have to control the football. You have to protect the football, and your defense has to be nasty. The Texans cover some of that, not enough of it. The Texans won't be playing in February this year either.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun playoff season for the NFL. All right, another topic we've been talking about over these past couple of days is the DK Metcalf situation. And Mike Tomlin came out and spoke about it. Here's what Mike Tomlin had to say, and then we'll come back and react to that.
Did explain to me why he did what he did, and I certainly don't condone the behavior, but I support DK, and I really don't have a lot to add other than what I just told you. I think he has a hearing this afternoon, an appeals hearing, and I certainly don't want to weigh in prior to that, and certainly I've heard more recently that there might be legal ramifications, and so I better be careful about what I say and how I say it. I'm sure you guys got a lot of questions. I understand that, but that's just the posture I'm in as I sit here today with so many components of this thing yet to be resolved.
Now, DK did have his hearing. It was upheld, his 2-game suspension, so he will lose the 2-game checks, which is over $500,000, I think I saw. But he also loses his near $45 million in guarantees moving forward from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So he can still get that money if he stays, but it's not guaranteed as it would be. Did you have a problem with the NFL upholding the suspension?
It's a loud message. I think 2 games is too much. I always like the comparison phase, right? Okay, what did he do to somebody else? And I'll be quite honest with you. I was thinking about the spitting escapades that we have going on in sports. And I know it got Jamar Chase for about $500,000 for what, 1 game, was it, Segs? Mm-hmm. Is that what he was? 1 game, right? DK. Both of those guys probably say, I'll never spit again and I'm never going to pay attention to a fan again and walk over there. That's expensive. That's like going in saying, I'm going to give to it. I'm going to give an investment, and it's some shot that you invest in a business, it's never opening doors, and they okey doked you, right? You gave money, and you never see the guy left and disappears. That's all this is. I thought it was a little harsh from the optics. I get the message because you just can't do it. I thought when he appealed it that it'd probably go down to 1 game because I wouldn't have given him 2 games. But I do understand, got to send a message. He's got to quit being sensitive. Got to get out of the way. You can't do it. And it bothered me. And I would have taken, if I was the NFL, I would have taken into account what the guy said afterwards when he said, I did what it basically, and I paraphrase him, he got accomplished what he wanted to get accomplished.
Yeah.
DK Metcalf to do this. So he baited him. DK's got to be wiser, and he will, because this is an expensive walk from the bench to the stands. But on the other side of it, I think the spitting optics are worse than this. I do. I think it's weaker. Now, you say, well, spitting, is it going to harm? No, but it's just down and dirty and character flaws. This is just the physical lawsuit. Go on that. Please don't tell me somebody's making money off this. Please don't tell me this dude baited him. Some judge is going to say, yep, you got to pay him $300,000 more for walking over there and grabbing him by the shirt. If you rip the sweatshirt, buy him a new one. Other than that, bad optics by DK, and it's expensive. The fan just proves that he's an asshole, even though he didn't use a racial slur. He baited the guy to get him to do this. The problem is, as a professional athlete, you can't be this rabbit-eared over somebody saying your name and antagonizing you, knowing the very reason he's doing it. So it's a bad look for both. I don't. Either one of them made a mistake. 2 games feels a little harsh, but that's a $500,000 walk that he will want back. But it won't be the last time something like this happens, and it won't be the last time some idiot spits on somebody in another game. But the optics to me to this, that's pretty harsh for 2 games. But there are going to be some that want more from it. I saw a guy say, it should have been more. I disagree with that. 2 games is the max for me. I would have given him 1 game, made him pay a fine, suspended, fined him for 1 game, which would still be expensive. And then I would have made an example out of the person, the fan. You can do what you want, but paying for a ticket doesn't give you the opportunity to go out and try the best you can to do this to a player. But the player's got to be better than this. He cannot be that rabbit-eared, because if he is, he's an easy get to on the field, Segs. If I knew this and I was a defensive player, I'd be riding his ass with this kind of stuff, calling him by his first name all day long, every day, to try and get him out of his game. He responded wrong, and it's costly.
Yeah, 100%. We'll see where the Pittsburgh Steelers are lucky. They'll have a home game the first round because they're going to win their division. Assuming they win their first game, let's just say, you're going to go on the road to a hostile environment, and those fans are going to be ready for DK Metcalf to walk onto that field.
Every sign, T-shirt. I mean, it's like, I'm gonna get a T-shirt made with his face on it, and I'm gonna make sure I put his full name on it. That's exactly what you do to antagonize.
Switching over to college football, Kirby Smart talked about what it's like managing his roster as the transfer portal gets ready to open in just 10 days or whatever it is, but also trying to be ready for a college football playoff game that they have coming up in just over a week. Here's what Kirby Smart had to say about this.
Focused on this team, I think it would be remiss to say that we're focused on roster management. We're not focused on it. We're focused on prep and getting better. And for a while, it's been like intrinsically looking at ourselves and asking each player, did you come here to develop? Did you truly come here to develop? Because if you did, all your buddies are out there right now. Everybody's announcing what they're doing. I'm announcing that I'm going in the portal. I'm announcing that I'm re-signing. How about you announce that you're getting better and you're going to practice and actually do what the 20 and 30 years of college football players did before you, which was practice in December when they're on good teams and get better. Because if you're going to play somewhere else, you know what you need to do. You need to get better. If you're going to play here, you know what you need to do. You need to get better. If you want to go to the National Football League and play, this is your last chance to get better, because they're not going to give you much opportunity. They're going to cut you or keep you based on how you do. They don't get to practice in pads but so many days. So development occurs in December for us, and that's what we've been focused on.
I love that from Kirby. I think it says exactly what needs to be said. And too many of these kids that go into the transfer portal, I don't want to say are looking for the easy way out, but they're looking to go somewhere that they can just play right away. They don't want to put in that work to play right away. They want to just transfer to a team that says, hey, transfer here, we'll play you right away. And that team could be lying to them.
I'd like to sugarcoat it for the player, but they're pretty much adults now with all the money they're making, and it's a full-time job, is, for me, let's not kid ourselves. There's two reasons they're transferring. One, because they don't want to compete, they want a job promised to them, or two, that they're really good and they want more money. Every now and again, you're going to get a guy, well, I was hurt, I didn't get a chance, a new coach came in, so I want to go somewhere because I'm going to follow my coach, or I want to go with an opportunity to compete. A couple kids I train are in the portal. Good players, and they are in the portal for college, and they're going to transfer. And 20 years ago, if they'd have come to me with that, I said, get your ass back to work and let's go compete. Now it's like, well, I get it. If they're not going to give you a chance to compete, I'm trying to understand why they'd go. So it's the whole landscape and the way we approach it. The rules are set up for it. So the kid wants to transfer, you support him, train him, and try to give him the best advice you can so they can make a decision. I do know this, though, with this, there's nobody that approaches this for his university and team better than Kirby Smart. He is loud and clear that while we'd like to have you, I'm not chasing guys in the portal to come here. And Kirby's good. I know you got to re-recruit your guys while they're there, and I'm sure some he does. But Kirby has this, and I think he really believes this, that if you decide you don't want to be here, I don't care if you're a five-star or not, I'm going to find somebody, this is Georgia, that does, and we're going to play it. And here's the problem I have. Sags, when's the national title game? Mid-January?
Yes, it is the 19th.
We got of January. Exactly. You know when the transfer portal opens? January 2nd.
Is it the second?
January 2nd.
I knew that. Okay.
So with that in mind, once again, we got this all wrong. Teams that are playing between January 2nd and the 19th should absolutely not have to manage their roster while they're trying to win a game. It should be 100% focused on. And I know you got to multitask, but why can't that date and the way we do it be moved around? You're there at the school. Basically, what we're saying is, yeah, your school and winning's more important, but all the other kids coming and going and like a freeway, a crowded freeway at drive time, you got to get guys in, get guys out. Who's doing this? One guy's going to leave. And then if he tells you he's in the transfer portal, what are we going to do with him? And how are we doing this? To me, it's just the timing of these things that take away, just like college basketball, when they're dealing with transfer portal and these kids, and then the guys are trying to win a tournament in March. I don't understand it. I love, if you want to know how to do it during this time and to send a message to your kids, meaning your players, Kirby Smart does that as well as anybody in the country. Good on him, and I'm with him 100%.
Yes, he does. The Michigan job, we've been talking about, it's been 2 weeks since they fired Sharon Moore. Some names that are still being mentioned. Kyle Whittingham, buddy of yours. Eli Drinkwitz, which I think is interesting to hear his name because they just hired Michigan's offensive coordinator, Chip Lindsey, to be the offensive coordinator at Missouri. But supposedly from people I've talked to and some other people that are talking about, Drinkwitz's name is still involved at Michigan. And then a new one I just saw before we went on the show today, Todd Monken, the Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator who has coached in college. He's coached in the NFL, done a little bit of everything, really helped Lamar Jackson take off once he got to Baltimore. And that would be a good fit considering, assuming Bryce Underwood stays if he comes. That's a great coach for Bryce Underwood in this Michigan offense because he likes to run the ball like Michigan likes to, but he knows how to use a guy like Bryce Underwood's skill set and get the most out of him and get him ready for the NFL.
Well, think how many Todd Monken's coordinated 2 national championships at Georgia. The Monken family name, pretty good. Jeff's not a half bad coach at Army.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
There were some people, there's some Michigan people that wanted Jeff as a candidate for this job.
Well, I got news for you. There will be no scandal or problem at your university.
Right.
Like I can promise you that because the discipline will roll. You're not going anywhere else in the country. When you leave the military academies, even church schools aren't as disciplined as those cats are. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because they understand the bigger picture in life. And Jeff's done a great job there, and so has Todd Monken. When Monken left Georgia, if you remember, Segs, we had talked about this. I had mentioned I thought that he was one of the greatest, one of the best offseason hires, player or coach.
Yep.
When they got it because of what he did and the ability to run and pass the football and keep a player two-dimensional, which he had with Josh Lamar Jackson. He was like I always think great coaches do. You don't make them adjust to you. You adjust your offense to what they do great so they feel comfortable in it. That's not player empowerment. That's called smart coaching to maximize your roster. And you know what's crazy through all this, Siggs? Monken's name, we just keep calling him a great offensive coordinator without a lot of head coaching mention. Folks, there's a lot of great coaches that aren't 25.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of coaches that are way in over their head at 30. And then there's the great coaches that are in their 30s. And, when they first started, you get the Sean McVays who have been great since he's come into the league at a young age.
Right.
And then you get some guys that it's a little overwhelming. And then you get the veteran who's been doing it like a Pete Carroll, while sans the struggle this year that whether he's 55 or 70 has been a good coach. So don't put an age thought on this when you're saying, yeah, is he behind the time? No, because he's adjusted a new age offense. Baltimore runs it, throws it, and he's done it, quite frankly, without having 5 great perimeter players around Lamar Jackson. So Monken's a sneaky one, but a safe one. I don't know how Monken would be as a head coach, the leadership-wise Siggs and all that, but I do know this, that if you like scoring and like discipline and doing it right, Todd Monken's pretty damn good at it. And Baltimore is sitting in a good situation. And maybe it's time. If Michigan offers him that job, there's no way he's not taking it, in my opinion. It'll be his first chance to be a major college head coach that is running a program that big. And he could be there a long while. And for the growth of your quarterback, Underwood, if you're Underwood, you wouldn't even think about transferring if Monken takes that job, because you get that hands-on teaching and the ability to say, I can be like Lamar, and who the hell doesn't want to be like Lamar as a college quarterback?
Yeah, Monken's last and only head coaching position was Southern Miss, 2013 to
That's what I'm saying.
2015.
But that wasn't a powerhouse national champ. This is a we're talking about a blue blood program. It's been a while for Monken. Yeah.
Looking at the NBA real quick, I know we don't talk a lot of NBA, but did you see the Draymond Green situation in the huddle the other night where he's arguing with Steve Kerr, and then after a back and forth,
pay raise.
Yeah,
he'll get a pay raise after this.
Crazy that he just gets up and walks out and just walks to the locker room and doesn't come back. Like, I mean, you're a veteran. You've been on how many championship teams? And this is a younger roster that they've kind of built around the him and Steph Curry. But I mean, that's not showing your teammates much. That's not showing your coach respect, your teammates respect, anybody respect by just walking out like this.
All right, Siggs, what does this accomplish when a guy does this? You supposedly, now I'm assuming he's going there because he's pissed. Was he told to go? He was right.
Supposedly not. No, supposedly he.
Okay, no, I'm not saying he was told to go, but there's nothing in there where Kerr said even like, well, if you don't like it, get the hell out of here. It apparently that he's disenfranchised and decided to leave because of the disagreement. Correct. Mm-hmm. That's where I stood going into this, unless I've missed something. So with this in mind, what is the one thing? Antagonizer, hell of a player, all that, we get it. Agitator. But another thing people put on him, a really good leader at times, right? For his own team. Now he's irritating when he plays, but a good leader. And some have labeled him a head case and all that, and I get that too. Smart, high IQ basketball player. You tell me as a coach, and there's good veterans on that team that can withstand Draymond Green doing what he's done. Remember when he got in a fight with a teammate on the practice court, all
Jordan
that.
Poole. Yeah.
But right. So, but Seggs, with this, what would Draymond Green do to a fourth-year guy who wasn't a star but a good player? How would he respond if they asked him in the media on his podcast? He'd go off on the player.
Yeah, he'd tell him to get off the team.
Are you telling me you're a good leader, or are you showing me? This is horrible optics. And why? Now listen, player empowerment's real, but why would you allow this to happen and then turn around and start him or put him in uniform next to him? When are we going to send a message to Draymond Green, who I have great respect for his talent? I think he's a pain in the ass in Bush League a lot of times. I think he overloads his mouth with his ass. He's going to be a great entertainer as a broadcaster full-time when he's done playing. All that withstanding, this guy continues to do stuff that make us say, this guy is an asshole. He just is. I'm talking about with the actions on the court, right?
Yeah, right.
Listen, I listen to him as a broadcaster, and he may say some wild things, but he's pretty clever. All those things. And I have one that said, I may not like him, but I love him on my team. But when he does this, why do we give the hall pass? Because we wouldn't. And Draymond Green does enough stuff for you to say, I've had it. And it drives me crazy, and it drives everybody else crazy. So that's not what leadership is. And if he wants to claim that he's a leader, I'm just telling you right now, Michael Jordan isn't doing that. Matter of fact, if Michael Jordan was on the team, he'd have been grabbed by the back of the neck and grabbed by the back of the jersey and said, you're not going anywhere. Get your ass back out here and compete. Or if you go in there, stay in there. So Draymond Green, he is a hell of a talent and a hell of a player, but sometimes the headache's bigger than the talent at this stage of his career. Much respect, but not for this. Great leaders don't do it. Do what you tell a young guy to do. Stare him in the face and deal with whatever criticism you're getting, because quite frankly, he's probably earned more criticism than we even give him, especially in that organization.
100%. All right, before we get out of here and let everybody go on to their Christmas festivities that they have planned over the next couple days, there's a video, and then we'll do our bet of the day. I've picked one of the NFL games tomorrow that we'll pick, but there's a video from last night from the NBA, from a guy who is hurt a lot, from a guy who doesn't get on the floor a lot, one of the best players in the league when healthy, but over the last few years has just had a decline, just not the same guy because of injuries and everything. This is Joel Embiid last night at the free throw line. Sean, watch this. It's ready. I don't know if his legs gave out. Like, the best tweets are Joel Embiid just flopped a free throw. He just flopped a foul, a free throw foul.
You know, the first thing,
I mean, like, what are we doing? Just falling to your knees as you shoot a free throw. You're 7'1", 7'2", whatever you are, 270 pounds, and you fall down shooting a free throw.
This is, well, first of all, he's probably praying that it goes in. So get to that. I mean, he said, well, let me try to guide this in. Secondly, you know what the first thing that came to my mind was? He's going to be on the 21-day DL for a dislocated kneecap, because I guarantee that this punishment right here is more than Joel Embiid can handle when it comes to injury. Somehow, some way, in the next week, Joel Embiid is going to be, yeah, man, he got a chipped bone in his knee and has to miss 3 weeks because he fell to his knees on a free throw. It's coming. And then the only other guy that'll be behind him that may pull a hamstring when he goes out for starting lineups is Anthony Davis. So There you have it. It can't shock you. The only thing that does is not that he missed or that he fell, and it looks odd for a guy. That's a long fall. But the truth is for a talented guy, somehow, some way, the knee bone's connected to the hip bone's connected to the shoulder bone, connected to somehow, some way, he's going to either have an ear infection or a chipped knee out of this and miss another month and miss more games than he plays. That's coming over this. And we're going to say, when did he get hurt? Oh, you mean that slow minor fall to the floor on a free throw? Don't be shocked, Sage. Do not be shocked. And then after that, well, you know who else is going to come out? Our guy from New Orleans.
Zion.
Zion Williams. He's going to come out. He's going to he's going to blow out his shoulder, helping Embiid up from the ground in some event that they're at, since they don't all play together when they got 2 days off. I'm just telling you that you've seen the movie before. Somehow, some way, an injury's coming out of this, and I don't wish it on him, but what happened? Well, he's got a floating bone in his kneecap from a missed free throw. Watch, it's going to happen. I
love all the talk from NBA players, current NBA players, of how much better the NBA is right now. These players are, they're more in shape. They take care of their bodies. They, eat right. They do all this working out. They work on their game constantly. And yet the best player in the league right now is Nikola Jokic, who, if you just look at his body, it's just, he doesn't have cut muscles.
He's baby Huey from the cartoon. Yes.
And he's the best player. You look at Luka, he's not cut. It's the European guys. They don't come over. I mean, yeah, Giannis became cut, but when he came over, he was just long and lanky and skinny. Yeah, they're smoking grits after
smoke
games.
A grit.
Yeah.
Smoke a grit, eat a pizza, score 35. And a little bit of body fat, really kind of pasty body fat, knock down a bunch of threes, hit you for 45, grab a cigarette on the way there. and laugh your way. And like, what'd you do for an off-season workout? Well, walked on the treadmill for about 10 minutes a day, and I'm gonna score 40 on your ass tomorrow. So yeah,
Drink a
in
bottle of
shape, be
vodka every
damned. Right,
night.
right. In shape, be damned. And Segs, they're gonna have to miss me. Much respect to the incredible talent that we see every day. The brand of basketball, and not questioning the talent or how good the players are, but the brand of basketball is nowhere near great brand of basketball. You're going to have to miss me with how good the NBA. You can tell me how talented the players are, but a great majority of the time, 3/4 of every game are unwatchable.
Yeah.
Period. And that's coming from a diehard basketball fan.
Yeah, I mean, it's pathetic to watch these guys try and play and just be hurt all the time, or they just are selfish and they want to come in and score points and do all that. It's just, but Joel Embiid just falling at the free throw line is just exactly what I expect right now from the NBA.
Oh, there's no question. It's a great visual. The optics fit what you're seeing in the league right now. Real quick, the comparison. We love to watch long drivers and all that torque and hit it 400 yards in a long drive contest, right, Segs? But if you ever played with a guy like a long drive champion, Segs, like in a celebrity show? I have.
Mm-hmm.
And inside of 150 yards, you and I are as good as they are.
Right.
Now, it took them one to hit it down there, so they got a little flip wedge in while you and I are still 60, 70. Well, they're hitting it 400. We're sitting back 120 yards, 100 yards, right? Now, in my 30s, I'm hit at 310, 320, and they're still at 400. But then you say, well, I'm hitting first all the time, yet he's making bogey and so am I, or I'm making par and he's not. The point I'm making here, same thing as the NBA. We can load it up, talent, dunk, 3 points, don't play a lot of defense. So we love the optics of all that. But when you get right down to it, you say, well, why isn't that long driver winning tournaments? Well, he can't putt, and he can't hit a wedge. Right. Why? Well, the guy shoots threes, or the guy's a great dunker, can't play defense, doesn't play defense, and can't hit a layup and doesn't make a free throw. Other than that, we're kicking ass in the NBA every night. Yeah, save it and miss me with that. Talent, yes. The quality of basketball, absolutely not.
Right. All right, our bet of the day as we get out of here. Lions at Vikings. Lions still playing to try and make the playoffs. They're fighting with the Green Bay Packers for that 7th spot. Still have an outside chance of moving up a little bit further. Lions minus 7.5, 43.5 over under. Who do you like in this game?
I would say I'm leaning over for sure. Even with a backup, Max isn't bad. I know his first game wasn't good, threw 3 picks, and then coming in played pretty decent last week. Vikings are playing better. The Lions are up against it, brother. I think Lions, even though it's a division game, give me the Lions. I'll lay those points, and even though it's on the road, Segs, I'd lay the points. So I'd take the over. If I was doing either and say pick one, I'd bet the over in the game, Segs. The points concern me a little, but I know the urgency of Detroit has to be urgent to go win this thing. But I would take. I think I'm safe that even with the backup quarterback in Minnesota, that Detroit can get in the late 20s, 30 points, and that Minnesota can score 2 touchdowns. Give me the over in the game.
Yeah, I'm right with you. I had written down Detroit and over. I think this is either Detroit blows them out or Detroit loses.
That's fair.
Like that.
I think Detroit's going to blow them out.
This is going to be a close game. In terms of Detroit winning a close game, I think either Detroit loses or they win big. And I think
Vikings win late on a field goal, or Detroit wins 35-10 type of game is what you're talking about, right?
Yes. I know your love for, if whatever the highest point total is, take the over, the lowest point total, take the under. Tomorrow night's Denver at Kansas City game, over under set at 36.5 points.
I'm not sure Kansas City can score in the game.
I'm
not sure. I would take the under betting this game, saying I'm gonna look long and hard at it, because they're telling you something. This reeks of 28-3.
Yeah,
it just does. It
really
reeks the
does.
28-3, or 31-0 shutout. That's how I feel about this game.
Yeah.
Kansas City's, and I
They
understand
just want to
it.
get done with this season.
They're checked out. That's exactly
just
right.
get
Yes.
done with this season. Get these two
No
games
doubt.
over with and move on and get ready for next year. You get
Agreed.
Patrick as healthy as you can, as fast as you can. But even then,
And
you
find
just
some more
kinda-
offensive players, Segs.
Yes.
Yeah, got to get back. Got to get right. Yep.
All right. Just want to say Merry Christmas to you, to Tripoli, Laura, Bailey, to all our listeners. It's been a fun few months, these last few months of 2025 doing this show. I'm excited for 2026 and where we're headed and what we have coming for all you watchers and listeners in these coming months. It's only going to get bigger and better from here on out.
The goal is the best show in the country. Whether people will be able to decide that, but we're going to try to entertain you, make you laugh, make you think. We actually do believe what we say on here. We don't just make it up for this. And so tell your friends, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Unpaved Sean Salisbury. We'd really appreciate that. Merry Christmas to you, Segs. Having you come into this show, it's been awesome, and so grateful for you. Tripoli, Laura, Bailey, bringing Bailey in as well. I'm so blessed with a great team, the believability, the trust, and for you guys and the kind compliments, everything. I know that we take it for granted all the time when somebody gives us, pays attention, but no attention, no show. So thank you. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, whatever it is that you're going to do this holiday season. For those that are struggling, bless you. For those that are going to celebrate with family and enjoy the hell out of it, do. And to my team, best in the business, to our fans and listeners, I cannot wait till 2026. We're going to finish strong in 2025. Yep. We'll see you back on Monday, the normal time at 12 Central. But 2026 is going to be epic in a lot of ways, and this show is going to be one of them. Subtle changes, and some of them will feel like a sledgehammer, but in a good way. And we hope to continue to entertain you where it's one of those, it's an appointment where you got to be there every day. And if not, you'll pop into that podcast. So thanks. Merry Christmas to the team and Merry Christmas to everybody. Be safe out there and be kind. That's all I can tell you.
Yep. We'll be back Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. Coach JB will join us. We'll wrap up the NFL weekend, get you ready for the NFL playoffs and where things stand going into the final week, and then get you ready for the college football playoff games, which are next Wednesday, Thursday, I believe, are the days that those games are being played.
Weird saying this on a Wednesday, huh, Seg? We're headed into the weekend, but I'll take it. Time off, and you're right. But it's rewarding and fulfilling to be able to do this with this team and for the folks who pay attention. So thank you.
100%. We'll see you guys on Monday. Merry Christmas to all. Peace.
Unpaved, Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.